Hi there, my name's Elizabeth and I like to sew smart. Have you ever been invited to a party outdoors or a barbecue of any kind and you think, what am I going to take for the hostess? Well, today I'm going to show you a handy little gift, and you can really play with your fabrics on this one that is acceptable when you go to one of these events. So these are serviette holders. Now I've made these ones up already, so you can take them to a birthday party for a child. This one is just a child's fabric, but I've put some unicorn serviettes in there. This one is made of unicorn fabric, and I've just put plain white serviettes in. Blue and white one, it's actually a Christmas fabric, but you could make it with any kind of fabric. And two more Christmas ones, which are totally different in colour because of the turn back. And all you need is a really nice little button. That one's got a nice little sparkly button. Just choose and try and coordinate it so it looks really nice on the table. Today I'm going to show you using these fabrics here, a gold, which I'll put a gold button on, and because I thought we mustn't forget that lots of people have church barbecues and things, I've got some nice serviettes that have a little scripture on and some nice jewels. So this is the one I'm going to demonstrate on today, and they're very easy, so you can follow along as I sew. For this project, because I've got 6.5 inch serviettes or 17 centimetre serviettes, my squares are cut at 9.5 inches. Now the reason I cut them at 9.5 inches to begin with is because it just fits my 9.5 inch rule really well. So you can always square it up really well. You will need 3 pieces of your main fabric. So I've got the 3 pieces of the jewel fabric. You will need 1 contrasting piece, 9.5 inch square, and 2 9.5 inch squares of thin wadding. The first step, take that piece off there, is to put right sides together on 2 of your main fabric pieces and make sure that they go together really well. Bring it down here. And on top of that, put 1 of your wadding squares. Now if it doesn't fit quite right, don't worry, because you're going to trim some of this wadding off. So you've got 2 squares right sides together and your square of wadding. On the other piece you will need your piece of main fabric. You're going to put your contrasting fabric on the top of that and your square of wadding on the top of that. So we'll leave the top for now. For the base, which is the bottom piece, you will now stitch around using a generous 1/4 inch stitch, but you must leave about 2 inches, 2.5 inches or 3 inch gap at the bottom to turn everything inside out. So I'm now going to stitch around, starting here, back stitch when you start and when you finish, all the way around, right there, and finish there, and then I'll come back and show you the next bit. So I'm now stitching around my second piece. I'm doing it in exactly the same way. I've put 2 pins in so that I know where I'm going to start and finish. Now remember, a generous 1/4 inch seam. Just take my pin out, and I'm going to go right the way down. I do cut my thread at the bottom. I've just got the outside of my foot because I need slightly more than a 1/4 inch. Now we're coming onto the side where we started from, coming up to this point, start and stop. So I've stitched both my pieces exactly the same way. Now if you remember, I said don't worry about the wadding, you're going to trim that back. Just take your scissors, I'll turn that a little bit round, and snip it quite close to your stitch line, just like that. And then when you turn it inside out, you don't have so much bulk in your seams. So do that on all sides, and the side where you have your opening, do it on that side, that's this side. Cut it across there as well, because you're going to turn, when you turn this inside out, if I can get it open, there you go. You're going to turn that back like that and stitch it together. So do that on both your pieces, turn them inside out, and then we'll come back and do the next step. This is my bottom section. Now I have just stuck a little bit of applique adhesive in here to hold that seam together. I've turned it in and iron pressed it. That's because when I stitch around the two pieces together, that will get caught in. And I've done the same here. I've left a little gap so you can see. That's my open end. Now this piece will go on here. The top will be turned down into position. So try and keep it square as you can. I am now going to change my thread and top stitch around here. But then once I've done that, I'm going to pin this together and stitch a 1/4 inch all the way around. Now remember, you did a generous 1/4 inch on the other, so it just catches this edge in. If you need to, you can also hand stitch any little gap you have there. But I'll machine stitch with gold thread around here, then pin the top to the bottom with that turned back and stitch a 1/4 inch all the way around. Come across the top and down here because it just gives it a better finish. Then all we'll have left to do is sew our button on and we'll be finished. So that's what I'm going to do next. Stitch that and all the way around. I've stitched around the top to the bottom all the way around. All the seams are all stitched in nicely. My button I have already put on to save time. It goes right through to the back to secure it because you don't want this opening up. All that remains for me to do now is to slip in my nice serviettes. You can take them out of the cellophane, of course, if you prefer. Now you could also use cheap $2 shop serviettes for any of these. And there you have, I think, a really nice gift to take to your hostess at the next party or barbecue. If you've enjoyed this video, then give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and join me next time when I'll be making a special Christmas towel holder. See you then.